Alright, so this is the quick lesson on how to do any projected growth. So, one would assume you need like a name and stuff, and then you're gonna need tests, right? So when you pull it off the map, I like to pull that kinder test. I might call that or that first test, the fall test, right? So call it a fall test or fall map, whatever you want to call it. And there's the winter map, and then you might want to add dates in here if you're dealing with like dates of teachers, so like 22, 23 type of deal. And then just for us, we'll have, since I'm going to do this in steps real quick, we're going to use these three, or we need a spring map. Alright, and then from these three numbers, and let's just say I'm a youngster and I'm growing slowly. Slowly. So it's 157. Okay, so here we go. We got a little Michael Myrick in here, and his fall map is 150, his winter map 155, his spring map 157. So now we can get really tight, but since like logically I know that I'm always going to be dealing with like a fall winter map kind of like cycle, it's going to keep going, I'm not going to worry about the time frames too much because they're going to take care of themselves. And if that becomes an issue, we can always do data to figure that out. Anyway, so we need to use these three to sort of come out to come up with like growth rates. Okay, so since we're dealing with 3 points, we're gonna have 2 growth rates, right? So we're gonna deal with fall to winter, and then we're gonna build a winter to spring growth score, right? So watch, growth from fall to winter, and then we'll say growth winter to spring, right? So then, just like we teach the kids, right? If we started at 4 and we grew to 5, our growth rate would be 20%. See, because we're always going to divide where we're at by where we were to find our growth rate, right? So if I could do that, I'm going to end up with 125%. See that? And if we want to, we can sort of percentage these to make them look pretty. All right, so that's that. You do the same. Here, let me make sure I did this right. All right. So this growth rate is, it says fall to winter. So we're gonna divide our winter by our fall score, right? That's gonna give us a 3% growth rate. 3%. Okay. So we're gonna do the same thing here. In Excel, you can sort of just drag if you want to do that. But let's not do that, it's too fast. Okay, so now we're gonna get our winter to spring. So we're just gonna divide our spring, so E2 divided by the winter, D2. And we'll see here Myrick grew about 1%. Now, ignore that drag and it worked. That works sometimes, not all the time. In this scenario, yes. Okay, so if we look here, we have now 2 growth rates. I want to give them some decimals because it makes me feel happy. We have 2 growth rates. So what do we do with 2 growth rates? Well, I think most people kind of use the most recent. If you look at the trend data on the map, if they still do it the same, they just give you kind of like a straight line. That's not really true. But I do this because it's conservative and I think more accurate. Anyway, what you're simply going to do when you get these two, just get an average. And how you do that average is up to you. I just come over here and click the average button and select just the 2 I want. And you'll see that gives me an average growth rate of 2.3%. And then another, okay, so the difficult thing here is understanding that this is, everything occurs in time periods, right? So if we look here, we've got a fall to winter to spring, right? And so we're gonna pretend we're on the spring data point, right? Because when the kids come in, they do a winter test. They do a winter test 1, 2. I mean, they do a winter test, then they do the fall test, then the winter, then the spring. That's 3 tests. Okay, that was really complicated, but basically we need something like time periods. In most cases, this is years or days, depending on the science you're using. But we're looking at just time, just test periods, right? Test periods. There's 3 of those. And I didn't need anything, just that to explain this next part of the math, which gets kind of wonky. It's like fractions for folks. But anyway, if we want to look at our projection, we have to do this. How about that we even do this even better? Because this is 3 test periods, I'm just going to do the total growth rate now. Total growth rate. And what you do with any growth rate is you just take you put it to the power that your time period is. This time we're dealing with a 3. So we're going to cube our growth rate. So we're going to come over here and just grab our growth rate, and we're going to cube it. The caret is for the exponent sign, and now we're just going to take it to the take it to that I2 pot. Boom. All right. So over the next year, we should expect about 7% growth from our kid. But to get the projection, we just multiply. We just multiply the growth rate by our most recent score, right? So that'll be E2 times J2. And then boom, we see that Mike is probably going to land at a 168 in whatever this we have here. And if you look at it, doesn't it make sense? Because he grew that 5 real quick, but then he tailed off kind of too. This would indicate he hit a wall, or maybe some difficulty, needs some help here. Or naturally just slowing down. But you can see that the 168 kind of jives with this. Now, we did this all with formulas. You see, if you start messing with these numbers, like let's say he thought he was smart, he comes in and does bad, and then he scoops back up. Well, that's still a pretty bad growth rate. It's too severe a drop for us not to ignore. So I mean, it looks like the math works out. Same thing if you had someone who come maybe from 100 and they shoot up and then they tail off. Well, same kind of logic. Yeah, that's a huge gap. Could be cheating. Could be any number of thousand reasons. But I would say as an interventionist, come look at that. But anyway, that is how you do that.